How you
I
doing?
I am well, Patrick. How are you today?
I'm not too bad. It's good to see you, my friend. As always, happy
Good to
days. We are live. We are live. So, hey everyone, welcome to Starts episode 7 of I'm a Role Model. Starts mission is to upskill 1 million women and empower them as future digital leaders and change the status quo for the future workforce. I'm Patrick Cutler, founder of BuzzStart, and I'm delighted to share with you all that we have a very special guest joining us today, Lovee Jain, who is joining us from Melbourne in Australia. Hello, Lovee. How are you?
I am thrilled, excited, ecstatic. Oh God,
Hey,
I
hey.
there are too
Good.
many.
Brilliant. Awesome. So, Lovey, tell us, how do we know one another? Just very quickly.
So Patrick is my professor from Square Online course, and we have been keeping in touch since the course ended. During the course, after that, during the whole pandemic, I reached out to him for an e-coffee,
Yeah,
and
we'll talk
then
about that in a bit. I
yeah,
love how you call me your professor. Professor Patrick.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to give your introduction now, and I would tell you to sit down and relax, although you're standing, so you're not going to sit down and relax. So let me give you a grandiose introduction, okay? So Lovey was born and brought up in Indore, India. Now, if I get pronunciations wrong, I'm sorry. She comes from a middle class family where both of her parents have their businesses. Dad supplies stationery and mom jewelry. Lovey has two younger siblings, Ina and Rishav. Is that right?
Yes, Ina
Ina and
and
Rishav. Ina Rishav. Her sister works and her brother has Down syndrome and is young. Lovey studied at one of the top colleges in Dore for her engineering degree and got placement offers at Infosys, Wipro, and Cognizant. Lovey decided that she wanted to take her master's abroad, and therefore she pushed herself to upskill, taking many classes and signing up for the graduate record examination tests. English language was a barrier for Lovey, and one teacher almost put her off for life by mocking her for her poor vocabulary. In her final year project, Lovey developed a scalable music recommendation system and at the same time got involved with Google's developer groups. Post degree, Lovey went on to join Cognizant and returned to her hometown to prepare for her MBA, and at the same time worked as a content developer in the e-commerce sector. She moved to Melbourne, Australia on the 17th of February 2018, which was her first flight ever. How cool is that? In preparation for this life changing move, Lovey did a lot of research about bank accounts, living, culture, checking out apps, and lots more. And the University Student Union was a great resource of help. Within 15 days of setting foot on Australian soil, Lovey, being Lovey, offered her services as a volunteer for the Students' Union and joined lots of clubs and societies. She attended Career Hub on the first day and within 1 month had landed her first job as a e-commerce support executive. Cool. Unfortunately, it didn't last long, but led her on to finding Google Developer Groups, Melbourne, where she volunteered and gave her first talk. Lovey would go on to further upskill herself and sign up for Google's global award winning digital marketing and leadership course, Squared Online. She applied for a scholarship online and was successful. It was here that I, Patrick, as one of her expert trainers and speakers and professor, and in her own words, quote, "You were an amazing teacher. Your classes were really brilliant and engaging, and I never missed one." Thanks, Lovey. Lovey and Patrick connected and stayed in touch ever since. The knowledge Lovey acquired really helped her with her master's, and she often received praise for her presentations. During her third semester, Lovey became involved in so many projects that some days she forgot to eat. During this time, she was introduced to design thinking, which combined her with her knowledge of Square, which really helped her evolving life journey. She would go on to organize a Dev Fest event in Melbourne, and networking was key to Lovey's success, always reaching out and connecting with and talking to other people. Finally, after all this amazing learning, networking, and hard work, Lovey landed an internship in Redbubble as a software engineer. She began learning how to program again and had great people around and supporting her. Unfortunately, the internship was to end in February 2020, just as COVID was beginning to rear its ugly head. Things were about to take a turn for the worse. Events, meetups, going out, jobs, everything began to disappear quickly, and things were looking bleak. They were depressing times. Lovey could have let things get on top of her, but she chose to upskill because she's a legend and learn, which is commendable. Although she was learning lots, she did not feel as if it was leaning anywhere positive, and her wandering mind and thoughts began to take over. In Lovey's own words, quote, "As we are aware when we are depressed, all the negative thoughts begin to cycle over and over, and I got it too. My education loan, worrying about my brother, my career finances, and everything got on top of me. But Lovey never gave up, ever. Lovey decided to reach out to her network for COVID coffees, which turned out to be really helpful and kept her mind engaged, and people were truly a blessing. One such person she reached out to was myself, Patrick. A shining angel is what Lovey calls me. Lovey would work with Patrick over coming months on Buzzstart's talent program, where she gained many skills and, most importantly, learned about her mindset and happiness. Lovey has since gone on to gain full time employment and is happy and focused. How was that, Lovey, for an introduction?
It was really, really grand. I felt as if I am a superstar. Thank you so
That's
much.
good.
The way you've described my journey, I already feel like I'm 50. There's a lot that you have covered.
It's insane how much you've covered. It's incredible, Lovey. You are a role model. Okay, so let's get started. So we've shared your amazing story. Tell me about engineering. This is a subject where women generally do not venture enough, and there are amazing efforts happening worldwide to encourage more women into STEM subjects. For anyone listening, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Why did you choose engineering for your degree, and what inspirational advice can you give to other women?
So, not just engineering, I would say computer engineering, because I was really into computers since I was really a kid. So, my papa got me my first computer when I was in grade 4. And then after that, I didn't. My first programming experience was in grade 5, after which I changed the school. So, but the story is that I really like to solve problems and understand those things. And usually, when it comes to choosing your subjects in grade 11, so we get three choices mostly in India. It's either PCM, which is physics, chemistry, and maths, then commerce, and then bio. So, well, I cannot see blood, I faint. So, I cannot be a doctor. That's for sure. I knew that. Then, commerce was something I was not too sure about it, but yes, I do love the other subjects. And then I knew that if I will pursue that, I might become a computer engineer or computer science, something into development. I was quite young, so I was not sure of the roles, but yes, I knew I wanted to do something like that. So I took multiple exams and then got into my college, and yay, 4 years degree.
Amazing. Well done, Lovey. Well done. Well, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Uh,
Yeah, go ahead.
the advice that I would really like to give to all the women who wish to go into STEM and are looking forward and making their career into it would be just being supportive to each other, because there are many times when we feel that okay, we do not have enough resources, because that is true. Sometimes we do not. Even now, that there are so many groups out there like women tech makers or code like a girl or women who code. These organizations, they really are promoting it. So I'm pretty happy that they're doing it. So whenever, I would say, whenever someone who's just like me or a kid wants to say or just says that I want to be a something, then all we can do is, instead of taking out like you cannot be this or you being picky on them, just say yes you can, motivate them, and say how you can actually help them,
Brilliant.
what you can actually provide them.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
Nice one. Yeah, we'll come back to mindset in a while. But yeah, 100%. Great advice. Thank you. You come from India. English was not your first language. You had many barriers, including cultural skills, language, and I'm sure human emotions, fear and anxiety, and others. How did you manage with all this weight on your shoulders? And what advice can you share with other women who are maybe in the same circumstances, either better or worse?
So as a women, we mostly have a lot more of that complex thing, that we get discouraged really easily sometimes, not for everyone. So I think the best way to face it all is by putting yourself out there and actually experience it. The worst would be that uh, you will end up getting embarrassed in front of 4 people, maybe, or 10 people would remember. So out of or 10 people, say out of 4 people would remember you, but not many, and they will forget eventually. So that's just the worst thing that can happen to you. And as I'm not sure if you have read about this very good book by Brené Brown, Dare to Lead. So she talks about vulnerability. Oh my God,
Vulnerability, yeah. Vulnerability.
vulnerability. Oh my God, it's a
Is that
tongue
right?
twister.
Don't worry.
So yes, so she talks about vulnerability. Ah, and I really feel that that is true. And every time you every time you're vulnerable, that's the time you can actually face courage, and that's the time you can actually put yourself out there and
Mm,
face it with um, whole energy.
yeah. So you need to push yourself beyond your
Yeah,
boundaries, yeah, your barriers,
yeah,
and most of those are in your head, right? Your mindset.
yeah,
You've
yeah,
created those yourself, in your own
yeah,
mind, and you need to figure out how to push yourself beyond those boundaries and those barriers. And the only way to do that is to take action and put yourself in places where ordinarily you wouldn't because you're afraid or whatever. And that's how we advance. That's how we progress in life. Your brother sounds adorable. Tell me about him.
Okay, so his name is Rishabh, as you already know, and he is the apple of my eye. So, uh, there's not even a single day when I not miss him. He is really, really adorable. Like, so, um, because as I've mentioned about his Down syndrome condition, he is not like normal young brothers that you might actually have. Uh, he's not that annoying that he should be.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
really more adorable, but yes, definitely. Sometimes my mom has to struggle taking care of him. He gets sick
sure.
very often.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely. The biggest reason or biggest motivator for me is that I have to take care of my brother,
Mm,
and that's why I want to settle up myself really, really well so that I could actually
sure.
put him into an institution or a place, give him that education which he
Mm,
actually needs. And in India, there are not many institutes where he can get that. So I really plan to bring him here or take him
right,
somewhere where, yes, where he
right.
could actually grow and have a normal life. And as you know, there are more inclusive cultures
Yeah.
around companies now. I really hope to maybe include him in a very good job or something like that.
Amazing. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I used to work with young people with learning disabilities, and there was often young people with Down syndrome, and they're just my favorite people in the world. They're just adorable. They're so loving and caring and everything, and I just love working with them. So my niece has learning disabilities as well. Oh, we've just lost Lovey. We'll try and get her back. Come back to me, Lovey. We've lost you during our live show. Come back to me, Lovey.
Oh,
Lovey.
I'm back. Sorry,
You've
sorry.
just,
Am I back?
yeah, hello.
Hello.
You hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you?
What happened? You lose your connection?
Yes. So it's flaky when I'm presenting.
Okay, cool. No worries. So, one of your senior English tutors mocked and embarrassed you or one of your English tutors mocked and embarrassed you during your graduate record examination classes. This really annoys me. It makes my blood boil. As teachers' jobs are to support, nurture, and teach and care for their students, and not to make fun of them or embarrass them. And it happens a lot, but there's a lot of great teachers out there as well. You cried that day and you didn't return to your class for a long time. Tell me about your experience, your reaction, and what this has taught you about bullies and how to deal with them.
So definitely, like anyone else would be there, they would be upset, they would be crying, they would be feeling really, really bad about that. Now, it's it's not my first language anyway, so it takes a lot of work to, and if you're not speaking it in your daily life, it takes a lot of effort to be able to speak it that fluently and get your good vocab and everything. So what I did was, so if someone tells me that you cannot do it, I would rather be motivated to do it
Hmm.
and prove that I can do it. It's not
Yeah.
like that. So what I did was I started waking up early in the morning, like very, very early when there's just a bit of sunshine, and then go to the terrace. And every day, I used to memorize, you can say, mug up the whole column of the book. So we usually have a book for the GRE tests.
Hmm.
So you can, it's like a dictionary of words. which are like very important words that you can always learn, and they always come into sentences in the exam. So I started mugging them up,
Mm.
and I mugged up like until F or G or something like that, and started from backwards as well.
Wow.
And then I went to the classes. Uh, and then when I was able to speak, I was able to use those words. I did mistakes. It's not that it happened like overnight
Of
or
course.
just in a few nights I was a different person. But the best thing was I mixed the words. But the best thing was that actually I knew those words,
Yeah.
like unlike the other people in the class. So he
Yeah.
was very surprised, like, how do you even know that word? I'm like, yeah, I know that. Even though it did not make sense at that time, but it did. Later on, I was able to settle it up all in my mind. It was more
Yeah.
clearer. I was able to use them properly in the sentences. And then, yeah, I got a decent score.
Good. But how did it make you feel about bullies? He was bullying you effectively, embarrassing you in front of other people. So
Um, I think the best way to face a bully is not to show that anger. Like
mm,
I wouldn't shout at him again, but
mm,
of course, do your work, improve on yourself, so that no one ever is able to bully you again.
mm.
So that's what my strategy is usually. Usually,
Stand
yeah,
up to the bullies, isn't it, Lovey?
yeah.
Um,
But stand
so
up in a way that is much more improving yourself and not actually deteriorating yourself or your mindset.
mhm. Good, good. You'll be prepared next time, right?
Yeah.
So fear holds us back. We just kind of talked about this a moment ago. Fear really holds us back as human beings. We get comfortable, and that comes from millions of years of evolution and survival instinct. Our brains are wired to avoid emotional stress, and therefore we have to consistently push ourselves beyond our boundaries and growth. And this is mindset, and it's the only true pathway to success is really pushing yourself. So, Lovey, you've smashed a lot of fears and boundaries in your journey so far, and it's made you an incredible human being and woman. You left your family, you left your home, you left your brother, and you left everything that you loved where you were comfortable. You've gone on to speak in public, which is the biggest fear in the world, and you presented multiple times. You took your first flight, which is a big fear as well for a lot of people. Can you tell us about the greatest barriers you've encountered and how you rewired your brain to overcome them?
I think as we talked about it before as well, the biggest fear is because it's in your mindset most of the times. It's not that tough as your mind makes it think that, okay, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
So similarly, I think if you are confident enough, you can actually achieve more and more things. It's all about the game of your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, I've during my bachelor's, I wasn't very confident and I couldn't actually speak in public. It was my biggest fear. So what
Yeah.
I had started to do is I started putting myself out there. I went to attend a few seminars where I know that people around me would be much more knowledgeable than I am and much more experienced. But then being there and attending it, and then finally at the end able to ask questions in public. So I
Mm.
started by like very small voice would come out like, okay, I have a question.
Yeah. Right.
And then very hesitatingly I would ask something, and they would be like, can you repeat that again please? And then I'm like, oh no. So that was the process, and how that's how it started. And then I was actually I soon after my masters I was invited by my faculty for a big presentation in front of about 60-70 students. So that was something where I know now, yes, I can do it. I'm a lot confident. And this confidence only helped me get my placements during my bachelor's, come to Australia for my master's, live all by myself. Um, I'm confident that, okay, fine. What would be the worst case? Then, okay, I cannot let it go to the worst case. Before that, only I would be done. So, yeah, that's what my strategy is usually.
Brilliant. Well
Be,
done.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that it's all your mindset. If you're thinking too much of the outcome, then you're just thinking, you're not doing anything. You need to do something before you can think of something.
Brilliant. Yeah. there's a trick that a lot of like kind of who like to class themselves as world leaders on this stuff and mindset is that they'll tell you to write down what the worst scenario and keep going until you get to the worst scenario, and write it down, and then reality will kick in that, well, actually this isn't anywhere as bad as the potential worst scenario. So I'm just feeding myself the wrong narrative in my head. I'm creating these barriers in my mindset, and I'm stopping myself from doing things. I know, because I had anxiety my whole life, and it was one of the biggest barriers I've ever encountered, and got over, was speaking in public. Literally the toughest thing I've ever done. And it takes time, but you have to keep pushing yourself, and you need to keep trying. And as you said, sitting in an audience was probably a good place to start, and that's probably where I started too. Was getting the confidence to. I used to be sitting there like freaking out for like an hour with a question in my head, waiting for my opportunity, up to the point where I was so kind of frozen that I actually couldn't ask the question. But over time, I started kind of, as you said, very timidly, and they'd have to ask you to repeat it because you were so quiet. But over time of doing this and trying it, you get better, and then you start putting yourself in front of people, which is a whole different mindset and different game. But you get stronger and you get more confident, and self-confidence is a huge part of anything for any success or strive in life. Give me a synopsis of your learning journey, Lovey, and more importantly, why did you feel you needed to take on so many courses and apply yourself so much, and what advice would you give to anyone today about the benefits of upskilling?
Um, as it is said that the knowledge is the only investment that can have lifetime returns. So I totally believe in it. So I did my bachelor's in 2015. I finished it then, and I used to do a bit of programming then. And I never thought that if I am coming to Australia after 2 years, 3 years, whatever, and then I'm going to do my master's in this thing, and then do development in that again. So it was that knowledge from that time that has actually helped me today in my job a lot. A lot
Mm-hmm.
means a lot. I mean, still today I'm using all those concepts, and those things are there. Plus, um, during this whole pandemic time, I actually upskilled a lot. I did a lot of certifications, did a lot of side projects, and I invested a lot of time into learning new things, digital marketing. So I've done digital marketing, cloud computing, development, business analytics, data analytics, visualization, and
Nice.
everything that I can get my hands on.
Yeah.
So it's just that I also like to learn different kinds of things,
Mm.
and but eventually it fits in together. For example, if you talk about the Square online course, it's not related to my degree at all. I did my
Mm.
degree in information systems, and my bachelor's was in computer engineering. Where does the whole digital marketing leadership course come into the picture? It was my own interest, and it came in because I was working for a while at an e-commerce company that you told about, and I really wanted to upskill so that I could actually work for a more longer period, but that didn't happen. But
Mhm.
the good thing was I learned so many things that I could actually use those things into my other capstone project and into my other role, and I
Transferable
actually got
skills.
that other role. Yes, I
Mhm.
got that other role because of that course. So yes, so you never know what comes from where, and then you can actually say that. So I think it's always an advantage when you upskill. People do say that, okay, you're quite confusing in those terms, like you do not seem to be very in a single direction. But I
Mm.
still think before you get to that T, the vertical part of it, you need a horizontal base as well.
Your focus, yeah, your pathway. Yes. So
Yes.
we will talk about that in a while, and how we work together on that with yourself. Because yeah, upskilling is very important, but I think more importantly for anyone is figuring out yourself first, and your purpose and your pathway. You can spend years upskilling and putting knowledge into your brain, but it's effectively, a lot of it is useless and will remain useless unless you find some applicable place for it. You might find somewhere in your journey that some stuff is applicable, but other stuff may be wasted, and that's okay. But it's better, I think, to make the best most use of your precious time as a human being while you're on this earth, and figure out, first of all, your purpose, your pathway, your passion, where you want to be. Get your mindset right, get yourself right. Then you can upskill based on that strategy, that plan, so that you might have 20% wastage and 80% is completely focused on you, your journey, and your passion, rather than the vice versa, where 80% is wasted and you're using 20%. It's the old
Yes.
Pareto principle, you
Right.
know. So that's
Yeah.
something that I would highly recommend to anyone that's watching is, yeah, you can upskill and it's so important and you should upskill, but make sure the upskilling that you're doing is very focused on where you want to be. So you
Yeah.
talked about the T, where you have that, that horizontal of your generic skill sets, which is, I would say, the 20%, and then your specialisms, one or two, should be your 80%. That's where you should put a lot of your attention, become the best at those specialisms, but then
Yeah.
have those transferable skills as well. So a large part of your journey has been people, right? Connecting with people, connecting, networking, friendships, asking for help. Personally, I am one of the worst people, Lovey, in the world at asking for help. And it's some deep trauma. I don't know what it is, but I have to work on it all the time. I find it really difficult asking people for their time, for their efforts, for help. But I'm very lucky to have the people that I do helping me at the moment. What is the power of networking, Lovey, and what advice can you give others from your own experiences?
So I've been very active at networking. So when I came to Melbourne, the first thing I did was join the Latrobe Student Union and be very active with the clubs and the activities that were there. Then I became an international host where we actually welcome international students and help out with their orientation and stuff. I did eFriend thing. And then I found GDG Melbourne. Then there's Vic ICT for Women. And there's so many where I actually volunteer and connect with people, go to so many meetups and events. So I used to go there and connect with different people. But one day I attended one of the uh, s- meetups, you can say, or the talks where the lady talked about getting a mentor. So she talked about how you can actually get a mentor, and that really really impacted me because she didn't just talk about how to get a mentor, but she also taught about things like how do you network right, how do you actually get connected to right people. And it's not just that you connect people for job or kind of a benefit or something, no, never. But it's that different genuine connections that actually matter. In fact, those are the connections which help you out in such times like pandemics. So as I've mentioned about the e-coffees that I have been on, I met you, Patrick. That's the biggest example I have at the moment. Like, it helped me so much. No, seriously.
You're
Like,
welcome.
you have helped me so much. If I wouldn't have reached out to you for an e-coffee, it was just a casual meetup. And that's
Yeah.
where we got into talking that you have your talent program. And I wanted to help out women with these things. I want to improve myself, and all those things came out.
Yeah.
So that's what got this whole thing. So I think that's a big thing. You never realize what people, how much they can impact you. Similarly, I have one more connection, Michael. He got me in touch with so many other people who really helped me um, focus more on my careers. They gave me different kinds of advice, and I actually tried to plunge into all those things as well, UX, a lot of design part and those things. And then finally I was able to get the right direction, and that's where I realized that I actually love working for the community, in the community, organizing stuff. And yeah, so that's why actually that was the best reason why I'm working where I'm working today.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good. What was it like to arrive in a different country, culture, and people? You left India, you moved to Australia. I'm sure you had many fears and questions and thoughts before you left and when you arrived. What was your experience of Australia, and what advice can you share with other migrants around the world who are maybe having the same fears and thoughts about moving to a different country?
So moving to a different country, into a different culture, is definitely intimidating. But if you do a bit of research and be smart about it, you would face less amount of troubles that normally you would.
Mm.
So what I did before coming to Australia was, so we had this Facebook group from the university which guided you about how's the weather usually, what all travel cards do we have, and what modes of travels do we have. Like if you see a blue color icon, it is for trains, orange is for bus, green is for tram. So it's just a small example, but yet it made a huge difference. I was able to catch a bus on time from a proper place. And then about the SIM card, about the bank accounts, there's so much to do. And then finding a house. And in fact, for finding the house, I came here on an Airbnb, which was just for a week. After that, I was homeless.
Mm.
So someone from the La Trobe Student Union, because I had contacted them before I arrived to the country, he actually really helped me out. He settled me in with a Sri Lankan family who actually helped me stay with them for about 15 days or so until I could actually find a room. So yeah, so those were the things that happened. But certainly that research helped a lot. And yeah, I struggled though for some vegetarian vegan food, but now it's all good.
The important things in life, huh?
Yeah, survival.
Yeah, I mean, there's an interesting trend that I'm finding with you, Lovey, is that something, as I said, that I find very difficult is asking people for help. But it's something that you've got a great skill. That maybe you're not aware of that, or you are, but it's absolutely amazing skill that you have, which has helped you in so many different ways in so many different circumstances.
Yes.
And I suppose on that note, I would encourage others, if you're like me and you struggle to ask for help, then really work on that, and ask other people for help, and just reach out. Like you said, you were literally nearly homeless, but you opened your mouth and you asked for help, and somebody helped you, without question, without fail. They helped you, and that set you up for a couple of weeks with a family that you didn't know, but it set you up. And then and things just like everything else in your life, you've just been reaching out, asking people for help. And it's an ever evolving journey of people helping you on your journey. And I'm sure a lot
Yes.
of those people are giving back. They've had help as well. And that's how it works, right? So don't hold back. People, ask for help, ask people for help. And that's me giving myself advice as well. So let's talk about how we met and your experience. You applied and received a scholarship which allowed you to attend Google's Squared Online, which is a world leading, award winning digital leadership course, where I am one of many expert speakers and trainers. Tell me about your experience of the course.
So it's a 6 months course and a good intensive one. We had multiple projects, and the best thing was we had remote teams.
Mm,
So I had the whole team where most of them were from UK and Ireland. I was the only Australian. So we adjust the timings first. That was a big thing because my timings most of the time were either too late or too early for me in the
yeah,
morning, but we still managed all our calls and then projects.
brilliant.
And then everyone has a different way of working things, and I've learned a lot from them. So I think that skill of polished presentations, it's something that I learned during Squared.
Mm,
And then the other thing was about understanding that why we are doing that. So there's a very good concept of why, how, and what, which I actually applied at so many places, and the results have been very good.
mm,
So I had a project during my masters. I applied that. Everybody was like, "Wow, that the concepts is so perfect. It gets into you." So similarly, there were so many other frameworks like STDC and those frameworks where you actually can apply. So the transferable skills.
mm,
So they really helped me with my other things, and I got another job, which was as a user researcher at DXE. So that was an H City project, and I actually got it because I knew those skills beforehand because I did that Squared course. So really worthy one. And definitely I would say mostly all the expert speakers there, all the lecturers had been wonderful and very uh, thorough in terms of explaining things. But particularly why I liked you, Patrick, is because you made all the classes so interactive. No, I mean seriously, I there were not many professors who would address you by name and actually remember you. So you remember when I used to type in "Hi, Lovey from Melbourne," and you actually always remembered me.
yeah, yeah.
Hi, and that's something which is very good in a remote setting when in a global classroom, when
Mm,
a professor actually remembers you by your name.
yeah,
That's a big deal.
yeah.
That's really a big deal. It makes that difference.
That's nice.
And yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, the classes were big. Often, like I think the largest class I ever had, there was 256 students on the class, which was just insane. And often you'll have on average between 50 and 100, but yeah, that was insane. But it was really high energy and engaging, and yeah, I did my best. And like you said, I think it's really important that everything's about people and relationships. It's not about pretense and trying to get ahead of people and get a steal on people and trying to pull the wool over their eyes. It's about being yourself and being true to yourself, and the right people will gravitate towards you if you do that, and you're truthful and honest and transparent. And I think that's a really big lesson for people as well. Stop trying to be something else and someone else. Stop trying to impress. Stop trying to just be yourself, and bring your best skills to the fore, and build relationships with the right people, and remember people's names. If look, we're not all perfect. It's hard to remember when you've hundreds of people in a class. It's not an easy thing to do, but if you can do it, as you said, it's really important because people remember you, right? And it's just honest relationships, and it's just being completely authentic. Authenticity is a really key thing. But I just want to bring it back a second. I want to know, you're gonna help me as a facilitator on the talent program, hopefully as much as
Oh
possible,
yes,
Lovely, given
yes.
your experience and knowledge, and yeah, and everything else. Especially with Squared as well. But I want to bring you back to the very beginning when you were set up on groups with your group. How
Yeah.
did you guys manage not just your time but like your positions in the team? Who did what, who was allocated what tasks. How did you pull that together very quickly and decide, how you would work as a group, to be the best you possibly could?
So because most of the team was in UK side, and most so it happened so the project was over in two parts.
Hmm.
The first project, I guess, was in two parts. So we divided, and we knew that we would be together for that whole two parts thing.
Hmm.
So we divided the things in a way that if I'm doing a bigger chunk this time, I might do a smaller chunk the next one.
Hmm.
And then when it came to actually selecting a brand on which we were going to work, so they chose something which was not from Australia. I never heard of that brand, and they chose something from UK. So what they did was they did that groundwork where we wanted to understand the requirements where they were lacking, because the project was something like that. And then I covered the later part where I could suggest some good pointers and work on the design, on the presentation, and the other half of it. So that's how we manage. So if someone was not very much skilled in one thing, the other one helped them out covering that part. And yes, sometimes if someone missed any kind of meeting or classes, we helped.
Hmm.
Yes.
But what I mean is, how did you communicate that? How did you have live like sessions each evening as a group, and work through problems and challenges, or did you say, right, love, you're going to work on this thing, and I'm going to work on like project management, I'm going to work on this, and then did you come together and go, here's what I've done for my part, here's what you've done for your part, how can we collate this and move forward? How did you actually do this? You're in different parts of the world, you're using online technology. How did you actually pull it together and make it work?
um, so we did have a team meeting, team call kind of a thing, where we all discussed our ideas. One would take down all the notes and share it with each other,
Mhm.
and then everybody took their things willingly. There was no force, so that was a good part. Everyone was very understanding. Some people were really senior with kids, and they still managed to do it like
But
really excellent.
who was allocating the tasks? Who was leading? Who was, how
Yeah.
did you, yeah, how did you do that?
So I think one of we had someone lead. We had two people actually together leading.
Okay.
Once they led, and the next time the other two people led. I did not get a chance to lead,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Did you ask, or was there a reason, or
Um, there
you
was
kind of
no
scared?
particular reason. It just happened. I mean, I was happy with the team.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's just
Yeah,
the way it
you
was.
know. Yeah. So it's more like if you are happy with your leader, then you might not feel like, oh no, I really want to do it by myself. You don't get that urge. But when you know that there's something wrong going on, then you might want to take control and then request that, okay, fine, may I help
Yeah.
out with this, and then take lead in that scenario. But I think people much more experience than me, who are in my team, and I think they made better decisions than what I could at that time.
Yeah, I mean, maybe true, maybe not. I mean, I think it comes down to, yeah, leadership is an attribute, but I think it also comes down to skill sets.
Yes.
And being able to add your strength skill sets, but also being allowed an opportunity to improve your
Yeah.
weaknesses. So you should, in that dynamic, in my opinion, you should be as a leader. I would be encouraging you to lead rather than just leading everything myself. And I think we've done quite a bit this ourselves when we've worked myself and yourself through talent. Rather than
Mhm.
me just leading everything and
Yeah.
saying, "Lovely, this is that." I would encourage you to take, often, and often you didn't, and it was a bit of, push and shove and stuff like that. And that's just your nature, right? So you probably maybe don't see yourself as a leader, and that's fine. But I was always trying to encourage you
Yeah.
to just take that step and step up and go, I can do this, because it's mindset. I can do this. You just mentioned, like, you were looking at other people saying they had the experience and the skills. Well, ordinarily that's not really true. You're a human being with a brain on your shoulders, and you're more than capable, or just as capable as anyone else on the planet to do this stuff. So that's what I believe, and that's what I try to encourage. Like, you'll have experience working with me is trying to push
Yeah.
you, to do stuff and take on stuff that you have already convinced yourself in your mind that maybe it's not for you and you can't do it, because
Mhm.
we don't know that. And when we do try stuff, we go to the next level. We always do, always pushing your barriers. So you've been very brave and open talking about or sorry, your internship with, just to talk about this first, your internship with Redbubble ended February 2020, just as COVID was getting media coverage. Talk about great timing, huh? Tell me about this time and your experience over the next few months, and prior to reaching out for your e-coffees. Tell me about how you felt and what was going on in your mind.
Honestly, the right word would be I felt powerless
Mm,
and uncertain. I mean, with the whole uncertainty, it was depressing.
mm,
I applied to multiple positions. Most of them were getting cancelled.
mm,
So the place I'm working at the moment, the position was first cancelled.
mm,
So yes. So when positions are getting cancelled, you have just graduated. You know your education loan payments are going to start off, and then I mean, you don't really have a good financial plan. Plus, the pandemic thing, it is making people much more redundant at their jobs.
mm,
So that was a worrying situation. But what I thought that if I continue to upskill myself, it would really help, and I did. I did a lot of courses. I got a scholarship from Google Cloud, and I
mm,
was doing those certifications. I was also doing a few development side projects and doing that course. Along with it, learned Figma as well, a bit of prototyping and those things. So I was doing a lot of stuff. However, I felt that there was that direction missing where I should actually be heading because of the whole uncertain situation. There was a point where I was like, I want to do any kind of work, but I just want to do some work. So, you know how it happens. So, you lose all the direction, you lose all the faith, and then it becomes very tough understanding what you're doing, why you're doing it. The days then you don't want to work on it, but you're still thinking that if I would not work on it, I'll not be productive, and those kind of mindset. I get worried if I'm not productive one day. It makes me worried, it makes me sad. If I do not produce how much I had expected.
mm,
So yes, that was going on. So what I decided was I really needed a break from what I was doing continuously, getting up, applying, done, upskilling, done, next thing, done, take a break, something like that.
mm,
I was done with it because I'm a social person. I love to talk to people. And that's how I decided, okay, let's start catching up with people like I used to in normal days. And then I asked a few people for e coffee. and they agreed, including Patrick.
Yeah, we'll come
So
to that. We'll come to that. I just want to get a feel more, Lovey, for how you were feeling. So we can, there's other people out there right now who are really
yeah.
struggling, with COVID and unemployment, and how were you feeling? Like your deepest feelings.
So one of my deepest feeling was that I'll have to go back. Uh, and I came to Australia not just to get a job or get a PR or something like that, but just to become something,
Hmm.
to become that successful person, to make my parents proud, and everything. All those kinds of thoughts are there, and
Hmm.
then everything goes some other way, absolutely, in a different way. No one actually, so okay, you can expect that, okay, you got a bit sick, okay, you got a bit late because you failed a subject. So these are something which are expected, but the
Hmm.
pandemic situation was highly unexpected and very, very uncertain. Most of the companies were not prepared for it, most people are not prepared for it. So definitely a lot of depressing times. um, Lost
So
confidence again.
I just want to kind of, like, without putting words in your mouth, anxiety,
Mhm.
depression.
Exactly.
Um, I know you've talked about these already to me, and that's why
Yeah,
I'm not putting words in your mouth
yeah.
because you've already
No, no,
said
no.
those are the things that people are experiencing. That's what I'm trying to pull out of you.
Yeah,
Those deep emotional feelings that you were experiencing. At this time, COVID started. You lost your job. Well, it ended. There were no jobs. The ones that you were
no
looking
one.
and hoping
No.
were disappearing. Um,
So I'm a junior. I mean, I am still a junior, I would say. There are no jobs for juniors as yet. I mean, there are very, very less companies that would be so confident and be resourceful to hire a junior. So
mm,
what would you do actually in that case? You have nowhere to go. You cannot work at a casual work because restaurants are closing, bars are closing. There are so many people out of jobs. Even where I was working as a casual, I was working at a fuel station. I got my shifts reduced. Did not work for about 3 to 4 months,
mm,
for a period. I got 1 or 2 shifts like in 15 days or something like that.
mm,
So pretty depressing, uh, pretty tense. I lost faith, that, oh God, it's all going in a very wrong direction.
mm,
And then negativity, a bit of negativity, in talking to people. So I still remember when I talked to you and I was talking about a job role, and I talked about the way I was talking to the interview as well, and then you actually corrected me. Why did you even say that? And that was actually that negative thing which you don't know it's coming from you, but it is coming from you.
mm.
So that was there. And then definitely video interviewing was not very common. So I think that's where I struggled to. I thought I was losing my confidence because I usually used to do presentations or organize events, be up on stage, but without anything, I thought I was losing that power of actually talking to people.
Mm.
uh, yes.
Yeah, you were
So
losing your mojo. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of panic and terror and fear and anxiety and depression happening right now due to COVID. And
yeah,
just like I've helped you a little bit, and we'll talk about that in a while. But I think anyone out there it's experiencing this stuff really needs to dig deep, because this is not, in my opinion, this is a great time for opportunity. It's a great time for us to really find ourselves and find who we are and what we're passionate about, and utilize this time to find the focus and the passion and the pathway that will determine our future. COVID isn't going to be around forever. At least not in this nasty sense that it is. We're going to find a way out of this. We always have. People need to have these positive mindsets, and they need to work on that, and they need to take themselves out of the negativity, that because all this is a cycle in your brain, and what you do is you put something in there, and then the more you think about it, it becomes a hamster in a wheel, and until you break it, it's going to continue and continue, and it gets deeper and darker. You need to
yeah,
break the circuit and replace it with something positive. And it's so important to do that. It's metacognition. It's being conscious of your own thoughts, and you can do
yeah,
that through mindfulness and all sorts of ways that you can trigger or stop that cycle of negativity, and you can replace it with better stuff. Turn off a lot of your social media. Fill your feed with positive stuff, funny stuff. stuff that you're interested in and passionate about. And the more you engage with stuff on social media, that's how the algorithm works. That's what your feed is. If you're engaging with doom, gloom, news, all this crap, then that's what you're going to see every day. That's how the algorithm works. But if you start to consciously engage with stuff that's more positive, passion, happy, focused, it's going to help you. You're going to see a lot more of that stuff, and you're not going to be seeing this news. So everything comes down to your mindset. You've been very brave and open talking about depression and how it's kicked in. It's something I think all humans experience at many times throughout their lives. I know I have, and I think it's on a spectrum of kind of the amount of depression that you experience at any point in time. I know personally I've experienced different levels at different times in my life due to what was going on at that time. So how did you overcome your depressive mindset due to COVID and unemployment and all that? And what actions did you take then that really happened or really helped you?
So, as I mentioned, the first action was actually reaching out to people and getting back into that social cycle that you already have. When you're talking to people, learning from them how they are coping with this environment, you get ideas,
Mm,
and then you get much more motivation to do stuff. So that's where actually I met you, and then uh, you have helped me with all the happiness pledge, writing things down, which I hesitated to do a lot. Like, we don't feel it feels sometimes like, why would you actually write down what you want exactly? But
mm,
writing that down, putting it on paper, makes a huge impact. And even taking out your negativity on a paper is also very, very helpful. So definitely those things that you helped me with. And uh, I started walking so there's a lake just nearby, so I go there every day, every evening or morning whenever I get the time. But I go every day, because I do not skip it until unless it's raining. So that gives me that kind of a peace, a change of environment.
mhm,
And that's really, really helpful. Plus talking to your family. So my parents have been really, really supportive the whole time. I mean, of course, they were worried too what will happen, but I have to say, my mom, she has always encouraged me. Whenever I was feeling low, she would just I mean, when I would talk to her, and she would simply say to me, why are you even sitting like this? Go right now, clean up your face, do something exciting.
clean
So
up your
yes, yeah, so those things are there. So there are many small things that you can do.
yeah.
um so
Brilliant.
yeah.
Sometimes the simplest things are the best things, but we get so caught up in the doom, the gloom, the negativity. Like I get
Yes.
caught up a lot in work. I'm a workaholic, and sometimes I'll forget. Like you forgot to eat, I'll forget to get up and go for a walk or move away from my desk, and
Yes.
that it's very easy to do that. And we have to. That's why we have to write things down or set tasks or triggers and write them down. Our brains work best whenever we get stuff out and put it somewhere out here where we can visualize it out here, not in here, because that's internal. You're not seeing it, you're not hearing it, you're not feeling it, you're thinking it. So take it out and put it out here so I can actually see it. Now it's real. I've committed it to paper. I've
Yes.
taken it out of my brain as a thought and I've committed it to a piece of paper. And now it has become something real. So whether that's something that's bothering you, whether it's tasks, whether it's whatever it is, you've taken it out of here and you've put it here. So now you can
Yes.
actually see it. See it now. You can actually it's come to life. So now you can do something about it. And that's
Mhm.
why it's so important, like you said, and that's why I was pushing you to do those activities as well,
Yeah.
and those tasks. Get them out of your head, get them on the paper, and then take action. Action is the most important thing of all. It's all very well, getting it out, addressing it exists and all that. But if you don't take action and don't do something about it, you're never going to change your mind, your thoughts, your processes of how your actual brain works. So I'm delighted for you. You very kindly alluded to me as a shining angel. Thank you. But you know what? I think, and it's something I studied years ago through mindfulness and working on myself. I think there are many angels in the world, and they appear at our darkest, deepest moments. And often we're so entrenched in our own misery and negativity. And human beings are very focused on stuff. Like that's how we get stuck and focused on stuff that we miss those signals, those people, those
Yes.
angels that exist. So So I've trained my brain, as I said, over years through mindfulness and other ways to always be on the lookout for those angels. Most of them are fleeting. They'll come and they'll go. It might be someone you meet in the shop. It might be somebody that smiles at you on the street when you're having a really bad day, whatever it is. Others will stay a while. They'll help you until you're ready, and then they'll disappear. And then others might be with you for a lifetime, like your brother. I would consider as an angel, just like my niece who has learning disabilities. We all consider her as an angel. Tell me about your experience with, in your words, your shining angel, Patrick, and your experience of working with myself, and at that time, what we did, what it meant to you, how did it help you, all of that kind of stuff.
So one thing that I'm really, I would say, grateful or thankful, or I mean, the best quality that I've always found is that positive vibe that you have. So even without meeting you in person, when we were actually talking on LinkedIn, when you helped me out with a question from Square Online course, at that point only I had got that vibe that he's a very great person.
Thank you.
So, and then whenever you have been interacted on my posts on LinkedIn, it's just a formal thing, but it means those small things actually matter. Those small gestures, they matter a lot because you don't know me, I don't know you personally. You live in UK Ireland, I live in Australia, Melbourne. We haven't met. You are just my professor. Why would you be interested in my stuff? But you still take that action proactively, and then you actually congratulate me on my small wins, and then you always appreciate what am I doing, and if we often catch up, like, okay, how's it going? I think those small interactions, they are very important. So similarly, when we caught up at the e-coffee and we started talking about the things, and then um, I don't know, but I was able to trust you with what's going on and discuss more things. And then it went really well because you already have that experience of anxiety, of depression. You understood that mindset. And when you actually pointed out the other day about that negative thing that I already had, but I did not know about it because I was not able to see it until and unless you actually pointed that out to me. So you need someone who actually points that out to you sometimes. That's very, very important. So by pointing out doesn't mean that, oh, you are like that, not that, but of course in a proper way where you can actually address it, help you out. And then how you actually help me with remember those 12 questions for the mission and vision statements. So I think those 12 questions where I was developing something else, I actually developed my mindset too. I understood, okay, why am I doing that? Because those questions were like that. When you are answering those questions for something else, you were working actually on your mindset too. So indirectly, they helped me a lot to understand that, okay, yes, that's why I do that. That's why I mean, if someone asked me today that why are you involved in so many communities and all those things, then now I know why I'm involved in it. Earlier I used to, yeah, I just like it. No, I really love it. I love to interact with people. I love to see them smiling, enjoying, and those things. So all those virtues and your positive energy that you have, that mindset, that gift of mindset you have, you've actually helped me to pass it all along, and then help me improve my focus, improve that calmness, mindfulness thing. And yeah, I mean, with different activities, sometimes I do felt like, why am I doing it? But now I know, okay, why I did that.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah, and so yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a deep thinking, always have deep analysis of everything in life, and I've ingrained empathy and compassion for other people's struggles and journeys, and it's a skill set that a lot of people should have today and work on. It's definitely for the future workforce, and it's especially in marketing as well, and advertising and all these different things. The world is moving or has already moved very customer centric. As an example, if you're thinking about business, but not just business and everyday day to life, you should be thinking customer centric, human centric, person centric, and you should be thinking about putting yourself into their shoes and not just thinking about yourself all the time. It's okay. Human beings are wired to think about themselves and only care about themselves a lot of the time. It's ego, as we call it, but you need to work on your brain and your mindset to get beyond your ego and think about other people. Like I see it a lot right now. people are afraid due to COVID, and fear takes
Yeah.
over their minds, and they lose all control of their senses, and their focus becomes very narrow, and then they fill their social media feed to the algorithm with the same thing. So they're getting the same thing over and over, and that's then convincing them that they're right because they're feeding it back to themselves. I'm very conscious about this stuff. I've trained it. I know how it works. I've been teaching it for years. But we need to be more compassionate around not just thinking about our ego, but all our people who are experiencing COVID right now, people who are vulnerable, and people are dying and stuff. And we need to start putting ourselves into their shoes and stop thinking about ourselves. And I'm just using that as an example, but that's what I do, Lovey. And that's what I always try and do. And just going back to what you said, when we first started connected, we never met one another. I was teaching you. Just like anyone, if somebody reaches out to me, I will try and give my time. It's not always possible. So whether it's a one sentence answer or if it's quite detailed, and I think I remember specifically when you asked for help, I might have given a detailed answer. It was a
Yeah.
challenge you were having with, was it programmatic or
Yeah.
programmatic advertising?
Yes.
And I went to the time, the trouble, the effort to give you what you needed to get over that barrier and move forward. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to reply. Most people don't. And that's what I'm saying. Get over yourself. Get
Yeah.
over, not you. I mean, people, get over yourself. Get over your ego. Start thinking about more people, other people, and start doing more for other people. And that's where you'll find the greatest gifts that life has to give you, the greatest value. And that's where you'll get the most out of life, is by doing stuff for other people without any, hope for return. If it comes, if it's reciprocated, great, but don't be doing it for that reason. Do it for the fact that you're a human being and you want to help other people.
Yeah.
So you mentioned BuzzStar's 12-week talent course. What is it about talent that is unique and different, and why would you recommend it to other women? And also tell me a bit about the happiness module and your experience with it.
Sure. So I'd like to describe it in just one line. You would do a lot without knowing, but then eureka. You would know everything.
Eureka.
It's something like that.
I love it. Say that again for everyone that's listening.
Okay. So you would do it without knowing, and then eureka. You found it.
I love it. I love it. Hopefully that is true. I know it's true. I know you're saying that it's true. And that's I've spent half of my life working on this stuff. So I'm hopeful that talent as a program, as an educational program, especially for women, which it is for, but the happiness module is for everyone. Talent is very much for women, but I'm hoping that I can instill that little switch in people's brains, just a little flick of a switch that will just set you off on the right trajectory, the right pathway, and you can carry on with your life. Carry
on. Sure. So the whole program that you have structured, it's really engaging, first of all, and it's more about learning by doing it, and not just theoretical concept like, okay, this happens, this happens, this happens. Like, we did the whole agile thing. You asked me to work on the Spotify agile model and understand it, and then finally I explained it to you, and then we did an activity, and then we set up all the Trello and everything. I think that's where I learned a lot of things. And then you made me do a CRM, how we can actually build one, how can we actually reach out to people, and then different tools. So I think that thing was very very, very helpful. I also explored more things. I learned the concept of social enterprises from you, and understanding what that is. I learned the most, my favorite tool now, it's Miro. I really love working in it. I did something even today at work, and that was brilliant, according to me. So yeah, I mean, the team loved it though. So yeah, so that's there. And all the skills that you can actually, all the transferable skills, along with upskilling, like English 101 is always there. so so no, definitely, I mean, it's not just about upskilling in one thing, but it's all more about your mindset, your thinking. So different kinds of things, like a mentality of a person who would be starting off a new business. How would you do that? That thing is there. Then recruitment, how would you recruit someone? What would be the UX perspective? And all those things, all those different skills, how they work together, creating your own social enterprise. Maybe I'll create something uh, for my brother or something like that in future for special children. But yes, definitely
Why,
that's
why,
there.
uh,
And
why maybe and why wait is my interjection. Why maybe and why wait, Lovey?
maybe is because if I found
Why
one
not
better.
definitely? And after this call, you go away and sit down for 5 minutes and write down your vision on a piece of paper and send it to me.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Yes, done.
And
We
that's you
have a deal.
start. But that's you start it. It's really that simple. It's about committal and commitment and
Yes.
somebody pushing you. Once you've gone and done that, that you've just told your brain that you want to
Yes.
do it more. And I guarantee you that's all I need you to do. So I want you to
Yes.
send that to me after this
Yes.
afternoon. All right.
You
And
got a deal?
let's get that started. I'm always
Yes.
doing this, Lovey. I'm always doing it.
Yes.
All good stories have a happy ending. You're now in full time employment, which is amazing as an international student, as you say, because it's a lot more difficult for migrants, for international students. You deserve it, Lovey. You've done this yourself. You've done all the work. You've done put in all the time and the effort. You've reached out and asked people like me for help. You've done it. You've drove it. You've led your own pathway and your own success. Um, is there final words or thanks you'd like to give to anyone else out there that's maybe watching and listening now or in the future when they watch this back, the replay?
Definitely a big thanks to my parents, first of all, you, Patrick. Um, so I would also like to thank my manager from my casual job, who always motivated to get a full-time work, which is in my own field. So
Mm-hmm.
not so usually managers don't care. Why would they? But he really pushed me,
Yeah.
and once I was very very upset, and then he motivated me, saying it's not the end of the world, you have all the skills, and he really motivated me. So that means a lot to me, those little push when someone it's like they don't have to do anything with you, but they still want to push you, and that's really very important. The other thing would be Michael. He has been very helpful in connecting me with many people and helping me to network, how to network and understanding those things. The other one would be my professors, my university professors, and definitely my another mentor, Katie, who is from GDG, all the GDG folks. So GDG is Google Developers Group, where
Hi,
I'm involved,
Stevie.
where I'm involved heavily. So I really like those folks. They have helped me with a lot of things. I've learned a lot of skills from them. And then we have Vinesh, and there's so many other contacts, and there's so many other contacts and people who have helped me throughout my journey. So I cannot just restrict to these names. There are many.
Yeah, so thank you to everyone really that's helped you on your journey. We're going to have to wrap it up, Lovey. Sadly, this great interview, as you being such an amazing role model for other people, given all the barriers that you've overcome and your journey, which has been very difficult, but you didn't stop. You kept going. You now have full time employment. You're happy. Things are going
Yeah.
really well, and I hope that they continue for you well into the future and the rest of your life. But can you give me three golden nuggets of advice that you would give your younger self if you had the power to go back in time into your own brain and plant three little nuggets of advice? What would they be?
The one would be not to think a lot. It's all the game of mindset. So I just need how to control it, how to be much more positive, see all the things on the different perspective, because when you change your perspectives, things start to change, as I've said that before as well. And then the last one would be that you can't be what you are if you aren't grateful. So always be grateful. Like I always like to thank everyone because they deserve those thanks. I
Love it.
mean, thank you. I cannot be more grateful for what they have done. They have made a little difference, but that's a huge, that's really huge. So yeah, that's all
Love
I
it.
have.
That's gratitude. It's a massive thing. Reciprocation. Your reciprocation for those people helping you is that thanks, and that's huge as well. Often a lot of people will take from people and they'll not give back. Not that that's warranted or needed or any or asked for, but often just a very simplistic thank you is not difficult for some people, especially people who've gone through the bother of helping you or done something for you. Then it's not that difficult to say thanks, and I think more people should try it. Thank you. There you go. So much for your time, Lovee.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute honor and pleasure. You've helped many thousands, maybe millions of women into the future. Buzzstart, as we know, shall be launching, hopefully, drum roll, next month in Manchester, the talent program, where we're going to upskill hopefully 42 women as digital entrepreneur leaders and fast track them into full-time employment, like we've helped fast track you, Lovee, into full-time employment, and also the gig economy as well, and helping them to get work and fix their mindset and happiness and all of that. So, Lovee, hopefully you'll be facilitating and helping me to share your knowledge on the program and helping other women. So thank you once again. A great Irish proverb, may the wind be always at your back, Lovee. It's over now from us, guys, for episode 7 of I'm a Role Model with Lovee Jain in Melbourne, Australia. Thank you, Lovee, and take care and have a lovely day.
Thank you, Patrick.
You're welcome, buddy. See you soon.
Yeah.
Take care.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.